Of course, the general election is less than 2 months away now, and in Oregon, there are some big elections up and down the ballot at a time when the legitimacy of voting is being watched very closely.
Yeah, the deadline to register to vote in Oregon is October 13th. Clackamas County Clerk Sherry Hall joins us live this morning with more about the upcoming elections. Thanks for being on with us again, Sherry.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so let's first talk about that upcoming deadline to register. What are the various ways that people can go about that?
Okay, the deadline is October 13th for new Oregon voters that have never been registered here before.
Hmm.
They can do that online, or they can pick up a reg card at any post office in our office, and register that way. And to register online, they have until midnight or 11:59 on October 13th. Anything mailed in needs to be here, needs to have a postmark by that date. Or coming in the office, you need to be here by 5 o'clock on October 13th.
Okay, so that's for new Oregon voters. For those of us who are already registered, what should people be doing right now to double check and make sure that their status is current, that they can still vote?
Okay, again, that can be checked online, or you can call our office. And we do need a good mailing address. So if something has changed, like with fire evacuees or anyone who has moved, we do need a good mailing address, but they can also update their address up through 8 o'clock election night by coming into a county clerk's office. If they are not in their home county, they can go to the county clerk's office where they are, and any of us can print a ballot for their ballot that would have come to their home.
Okay, and so speaking of, when will we start to see those ballots arrive in our mailboxes?
Okay, the military overseas were mailed out last Friday, and the snowbirds are going out soon, and October 14th is the date that everyone else will be mailed their ballot. But they can also come into the office now and pick up a ballot anytime up to October 14th.
Okay.
After that date, we can mail.
Okay. We've seen in the news this week out of Pennsylvania this whole debate over the secrecy sleeve and naked ballots. Is that a concern here in Oregon?
It is not. Again, Oregon has been a vote by mail state for over 20 years. And we used to use, in this county, we used to use an envelope that was a secrecy envelope. We now use a secrecy sleeve, but it is optional. No one needs to put their ballot in that secrecy piece and then in the mailing envelope. It can just go into the mailing envelope. It's up to the voter.
Yeah. What do you make of all the news this week about, some of the president's comments about fraudulent ballots being mailed out and questioning the legitimacy of voting by mail?
Okay, well, there's a lot being talked about nationally that doesn't affect what Oregon does. And so anyone listening with doubts should check with a trusted source like the county clerk's office or the Secretary of State's elections office. If something national makes you doubt something here, check with the trusted source here to see what's true and what isn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, because that is a good point. We've been doing it this way for many, many years in Oregon, and yeah, nothing really has changed about our system coming up to November. I
Right.
do want to reiterate that point, though. You talked about having the proper mail address, and especially in Clackamas County right now, we have hundreds of families who, potentially are not at their home, who have evacuated or have changed plans here for the near future. So what should people be doing to make sure they have the correct address, and then if they need to get their ballot elsewhere this year?
Well, they can first check with their county clerk to see what we have, to find out the status of their mailing address. And if that's not where it can be mailed now, then they can give us a new mailing address that would be good. We're kind of encouraging people to wait till about October 1st to do that, because with the situation, their address could change more than once. They could be staying somewhere now and it could change by the time the ballots are mailed out. So they just need to make sure. And then if they haven't received their ballot by about the 17th or 18th of October, after the 14th day, the 14th, which is the day we're mailing out, they should call the office to see where their ballot is and make sure that they get it. And people should place this on their calendar as an important appointment to vote, like they would a doctor's appointment or anything else, because with all the things that are going on with people that have been evacuated, this might not be first on their mind. So they need to make their plan to vote and make sure they have their ballot.
And again, the deadline to mail, if you're going to mail it in as opposed to a drop box?
Okay, it would be the Tuesday before Election Day.
Okay. All right, good to know.
About a
Sherry,
week early.
week early. Okay, Sherry, good to see you, and thanks so much for all of the information. A very important subject right now, an important time in our country. Have a good morning.
It is. And thank you for educating people through your show.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.